Hi from Bugeye Guys. This is a client's car that came to us from Tennessee, and it didn't run when it came. It needed a whole lot of stuff. And I want to just make on this video a few points about some of the parts we sell and one of the critical things in terms of Bugeye restoration. This car is not the world's greatest Bugeye. It's a perfectly wonderful car, and don't get me wrong, I would say this Bugeye is representative of sort of the entire middle subset of all Bugeye Sprites, and in fact almost all classic English cars are in this zone of looking quite good, having a lot of personal connection, being completely functional, but not being a stellar freshly restored car. So it has little cosmetic blemishes, things like cracked weather stripping and some paint chips here. You don't need to worry about getting too up close and personal about all of them, but overall it's a really nice car that presents nicely. People love these cars, but they have some little nicks and marks, and you know, the screws might have a little surface rust here and there. So it's a good driver car. That said, we just spent a lot of time with this car, making it a fantastic car to drive. And I wanted to just talk about that in this video because most people are in that space of having a car that they don't need to be perfect, but it needs to drive really well. And so that's what I want to talk about in this video. What we did with this car in particular that I thought was most special is really right here. These are the radius arms, and this is pretty common. These bushings get blown out, and then you have the axle kind of parallelogramming with a loose link here, and they clunk. So this is critical, and we sell these in our parts catalog. We change them all the time. You can get a whole new arm, or you can change the bushings, but we usually just put the whole arm in. This is the quarter elliptical leaf spring. If you're unfamiliar with Sprites Mark 1 and 2, the early cars had this quarter elliptical spring. Instead of it being like an archer's bow, which is a half elliptical spring, this is a quarter elliptical. These are the ones in the car, and I wanted to show this. It's the other side that was cracked on one of these clamps, but this one, it's failed. It's old, it's distorted, and in fact on the end here you can see it's fused to itself. So even though this was functional, it really wasn't providing much ride quality. And then you add this rear damper, which was leaking a little bit. If I had it in a vise, I can show you. Maybe the other side was wetter, but these tend to have dead spots. So you'll move them, arc them through their range of motion, and they'll have a spot where there's like an air bubble, or there's wear, or there's no hydraulic pressure, so you end up with no damping. So you put all this together and you have a car that rides like crap. So you put this new stuff in, and you end up with a car that has, actually, dare I say it, a bit of a plusher ride. And on top of that, it gave us a chance to set the ride height. So a lot of people, when you see these cars online, are saying, oh, the rear end looks too high, and many of them are that way. This one is about 25 1/8 or thereabouts off the ground. It's not a specific number. Every car is a little bit different. There are always asymmetries, but this one I think was a tad lower in the front, 24 1/2 or 24 3/4. So what we did is we put the new springs in, and then we have lowering wedges that we add to bring the back down. And in the case of this car, the front was a little too high. We have a lowering kit for the front suspension so that we could bring the front down. The front right now, you should be able to see it in the video. It's a little bit higher in the back than in the front. There's a little bit more gap in the back, but I don't have a problem with that. I think that's personal preference. I think the car looks just right, just how it is. If somebody wanted to modify the lowering wedge and raise the front just slightly, no problem, you can do that. But we didn't feel that was necessary to spend the time or energy doing that. So this is a great looking car, just the way it is, and it takes that sort of quote-unquote average driver and makes it spectacular to drive. In particular, when you drive one of these Sprites with that stuff between your butt and the road, it's a very harsh ride. You end up with you just don't have a very supple experience of the asphalt. When you put in the new shocks all around, new springs, new radius arms, and I forgot to mention new tires. These are Kumo tires that are not terribly expensive, but there's a brand new rubber, and you can even feel it with your fingers. It's just more pliable and more supple. New rubber just hooks up better with the texture of the asphalt, and it gives you a more damped ride. So you do all that stuff to a car that's very short with a very crude suspension, and you actually have more of a supple thud when you hit a bump instead of a bang. And it makes your interest in being in one of these cars for a longer duration that much greater. In other words, you can go out for an hour-long drive instead of feeling like, well, after 20 minutes, it's not that comfortable or whatever people think. But most of these cars by now are worn out in different ways, and thus people tolerate a pretty lousy ride quality. You've got lots of new tires to choose from. Those are some white wall radials on that client's car. We have some Vredsteins on this white car. If we have any ability to show you that from here, that's another option. We also sell these beautiful Michelins and Pirellis. So you have lots of different choices. This is a Vredstein as well. And all of them, when they're new rubber, give you a great ride. And so thank you for watching today. We're hoping we can help you improve the ride quality of your car. You're welcome to send your car here. We'll pick it up, or we'll send you tires and other parts from our catalog. Thanks for watching today from Bugeye Guys.